welcome to the first video in the docu-series of the child in my womb. Yeah, I know it's womb, and I know I repeatedly say womb, but I can't stop it, alright? I can't stop it. It's like I've tricked myself into saying womb, and now I can't stop. This video will be my first midwife appointment. My laptop sounds like it's about to take off. It'll be my first midwife appointment and my 12-week scan. This is all through the NHS. I haven't gone anything private, so there's not any like early scans or loads of appointments or anything. I've had 2 so far, and I'm in my 2nd trimester now, so it's my first child, first like confirmed pregnancy at least. We'll just leave it with that. Okay, so I'm out of breath. You can't judge me for that, because it's not my fault. Okay, so my first midwife appointment, I have notes here. So if I look off, actually I might put it down here. It's more in front of me. If I look down, my notes. So for me, I forgot to write this bit down. So for me, I went into my GP and I was like, we went into the doctor's office and I was like, I had a positive pregnancy test. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. And she was like, here's a form. She was basically like, oh, I know what you need to do. Here's a form, fill it out, and you'll get a text. So I filled it out, and I think like maybe 2-3 days later, I don't actually know how long it was. It could have been a whole week. I don't know. I got a text from one of the midwives saying, I've booked you an appointment for this day. Like, let me know if that's okay or not. And then, so it's not actually with my GP, it's with a maternity hub that's connected to my nearest hospital, which hopefully I'll be using the birth centre there, not the ward. But I was going to say that's a long way away, but it's actually not. Joe was saying the other day it's only 6 months away, and I was like, I'm just going to ignore that he said that. Back on topic. So yeah, and then I just replied and I was like, yeah, that's great, thanks. And then you get like I don't think I had a letter. Why can't I remember? Maybe I just had an email or something that said you need like a full bladder, and you're gonna have to do urine samples, so you need a full bladder. I think that's pretty much all I got. I think it was just an email. I should have looked at that, but I knew I had to have a full bladder anyway. So you have to have a full bladder, and you have to do a urine sample, and you'll give that. You keep that with you until your appointment, and then they'll take it from you when you're in there. So we went and like sat down. I think we talked for like 5 minutes. She introduced herself. I met her, she introduced herself, and like gave some info about some of the services they have, kind of like the fact that it's a maternity hub, and like they're all community midwives and blah 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 blah, kind of that thing. And then she was like, can I just weigh you and get your height? So I went back out of the room to do that, because it's like the one I go to is like a temporary building. So it's like kind of like I don't know if anybody will have had this, but like a temporary building that you had at your school that's been there for 25 years. That kind of thing. It's like, you know, like mobile, but it doesn't move, but mobile. So you had to go out of the room for that, and then back to it. Of course, now I have no idea where I was. My neck looks skinny. Why? It's like I've got a massive spot on my chin. Well, I kind of do, you know. Yes, so they like take your... She did my height and weight, which either my scale is off or their scale is off when they took it, because I weighed myself like the day before and it was 1 kilogram less. So I think our scale might be a bit old, which, to be honest, it might be like 8 years old. Anyway, so they do that, you go back in, and then she starts going through all of my medical history. No, before that, she did a carbon monoxide test, which was like a breathalyzer. I had to breathe in, hold my breath for 15 seconds, and then breathe into like a cardboard tube. It was basically a breathalyzer, and it just tells you the parts per million of carbon monoxide in your breath, lungs, blood, body. And for a normal human, just normal everyday life, it's fine if it's between obviously 0 and 9. I don't know the measurement, parts per million. That seems like a lot. Maybe that seems like not a lot. Joe knows this better because he was having to do this in one of his courses recently. But I think it's 9 parts per million, but on the thing it gives you 3 numbers. But for pregnant women, it's between 0 and 4. So anything between 0 and 4 is fine. If you smoke, I think if you smoked while you conceive, if you still smoke, or like smoked until you found out, it will more than likely be higher. But mine was like 0.145. And it didn't show up to the last millisecond. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be 0. I am amazing. I'm a queen. I have no carbon monoxide. Amazing. But no, it showed up at the last second. I was like, okay, fine. And then they go through your medical history. So she'll ask like your age, your everything. You're like, are you active? Are you this, that, or the other? And goes through all of your family history. So do you have any history of strokes? Do you have any history of heart disease? Well, that's kind of the same thing, but heart failure or whatever. Any other diseases, hereditary diseases. If you do end up saying you have a family history of diabetes or anything, and if you say it's a close relative, so like a grandparent, not necessarily an aunt or uncle, everything's making noises, but oh my God, why have I got the hiccups? Okay, we're fine. But like a grandma or a parent, they kind of immediately say that they'll book you in for your glucose test, which she actually didn't do then, which I'm kind of glad about because I'm not sure if I want to do it. I just feel like I'll just throw it all up and then I'll have to do it again and just do the same thing. But so yeah, and then there wasn't really anything about Joe, even though it told him to come and they were going to talk about the father, but that wasn't really anything. I think it's kind of more if they're of a specific ethnicity. Some ethnicities are more prone to different diseases, ailments, like thalassemia and sickle cell. They might actually be the same 2 things, but there's certain people that are more like certain ethnicities that are more likely to have that or be carriers. I don't know if you can be a carrier of that, but yeah, so I think they just kind of want to know the ethnicity of the father rather than any other medical history in particular. It's kind of more like a general thing, like, you're healthy, great, good to know. And then she did a blood test. Oh, I forgot to write something else down. She did a blood test and she took 3 vials. One for all of the STIs and STDs. So like HIV, chlamydia, gonorrhea. What's the other one? The other one. The other was, I don't know, just checking my count. And then there was another test result was my blood type. I don't know what the others were. There was 4 or 5 tests that came back on an app. Here we are, back again. Me talking about, well, actually, I can't be back again, but I've talked about it in like 3 other clips, but I'm not going to put those in because I'm talking about it here. So, the only videos I've seen are from about 3 years ago and more, of like first appointments, first scans and stuff. They all get this lovely little folder with, like, I assume they put all of their blood tests, all of the letters they get, all of the appointments, I don't know, and just all the information they get, all the leaflets or whatever you get for having a child. They put all of that in there. You don't get that anymore. At least you don't get that where I am. So it's all on an app, but the app isn't working. So at the end of it, she was kind of like, yeah, you're low risk. So she kind of mentioned birth preferences, not in detail, but more just like a rough, what do you think you want to do? Like, do you want like an elective C-section, because you kind of have to book that in? Or do you want to be on the ward, or do you want like home birth or birth centre, you know? She kind of mentioned that, and she was like, yeah, because you're low risk and you will have midwife driven care rather than a consultant or a consultant or a specialist team. My Google just changed the volume. I can use the birth centre. So, yep. And I was taking preconception vitamins, and she just said I could finish those and then start some form of during pregnancy vitamin, which I was on. I was taking the Barrett's, the chewy ones, but they started to make me feel a bit sick. So I went onto the Pregnant Care Max, but they just make me gag at the minute. So I think I might go back to the other ones and then maybe try those in like a couple of weeks. But yeah, so that was kind of the end of the appointment. And then we booked this, or she requested the scan for roughly 12 weeks, and then booked in my next midwife appointment, which is at 16 weeks. So that was the end of the midwife appointment. And then, as I said a minute ago, I got all my blood tests back, and they saw something that indicated I could be deficient in iron, which I usually am. So I wasn't surprised, let's put it that way. I just don't get regular blood tests anymore, so I was just expecting to be. So, but I had that. A couple of weeks go by, nothing. Text my midwife, nothing. I assume she was on holiday. If not, disappointed. But I understand there's a lot of people where I live. But still, if I ask a question, just reply. What was I saying? So I called the health centre where the hub is, where the maternity hub is, and I was like, how do I talk to a midwife? Because I don't have a number for the for like a general midwife number. I think they all have their own numbers. There's an email, but I can't find that. So it's kind of difficult to contact them. So I called and I was like, I had a blood test 3 weeks ago and I haven't had the results yet. This was like 2 days ago. Yeah, it was like 2 days ago. Where's my iron? I've got some iron tablets. They're not here yet. Anyway. So surprised. I was deficient. But the results just hadn't been released to me on the app. Like, I guess they have to go in and say, okay, they can see those results and see whatever. I don't know why. I don't know. But she was like, yeah, they just haven't been released to you, so I'm not sure why, but it's my stored iron, so my ferritin, the other one of them, it's my stored iron is what it is, that's what it usually is. I don't know why, just how it is. So she was like, I can get you a prescription, and I was like, yeah, so those ones don't actually do anything. When I was taking like iron phosphate. They're like tiny little pills, little round, like kind of semicircular. They're not like tablets. They're like round and curved. I took those when I was younger, and they literally didn't do anything. They were like, nothing has changed. They just went straight through. Well, not straight through, because iron makes you constipated, but they didn't absorb. So the third GP that I talked to about my iron years ago was like, hey, try active iron. And that's the only thing that helped. So I was like to the midwife, I've been on iron tablets before. I'm going to get the ones that I know work and that I've tried and that are good for me and absorb and like actually do something. She was like, oh yeah, that's fine. So I'm just going to take those for a month and see how my iron levels are, as well as the vitamins. I'm going to take those together because the amount in the tablets and the vitamins are just under the most you can take. Ow! Which it might be slightly different in the other vitamins, so I need to check. But yeah, if there is a problem, I'm just going to have to maybe take my vitamins individually, or just, I don't know. Please let me know if there's any questions you have. And yeah, I'm going to do a first trimester video because a lot just happened in the last couple of weeks. My boobs leak now, so that's great. So I bought some reusable breast pads, but I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm just going to say, yep. Wasn't expecting it at, 13 weeks, and well, it was actually 12 weeks. But here we are. Okay. Low power mode. Okay, I'm going now. Goodbye.